Chapter 33 to 34. The next day. The offensive part of this technique is now complete. Yuto. In the spacious training ground, Nagato Uzumaki massaged his sore arms as he emerged from the pile of rubble, slowly standing up straight. In front of him were two deep trenches, each nearly 100 meters long. These were the marks left by his feet after being forced back by a tremendous force. Even though he used the special Rinnegan technique Shinra Tensei to block the attack, he couldn't dissipate the immense impact force. Lion's Fang Bite, a technique powerful enough to make its user famous in the shinobi world. Yuto panted heavily, his hands once again covered in blood. Thank you. Are your hands okay? Every bone in my hands is nearly broken. Fortunately, I know medical ninjutsu. Yuto was relieved. After completing Lion's Fang Bite, the burden on his body had increased several times. Although the power was immense, it had shattered his bones. I'm leaving today. I've been away from the village for too long. If I stay any longer, it won't be justifiable. While using the palm healing technique to heal his body, Yuto spoke to Nagato. Until my sensei finds a way to reduce the backlash of this technique, I must limit its use. With the current version of Lion's Fang, using it 3 times in a row will tear my own arms apart. Great power comes at a great cost. Nagato sighed. We shinobi are, after all, just a bunch of unfortunate people, strong because of chakra, and dead because of it. Yuto laughed. Overthinking is not a good thing. Nagato, I'm leaving. All right. Hopefully the next time we meet we won't be enemies. If it happens, so be it. Shinobi can never choose their fate. The Branch family youth returned to his house, tidied up the room, and packed his belongings. However, he did not leave immediately, but continued to use medical ninjutsu to heal his body inside the house. While traveling outside, his physical state had to be adjusted to at least the level where he could fight against shinobi of the same rank. As night fell, the land continued to be covered in incessant rain. Outside the base, Kaoru Asano was grinding seeds. The oil for feeding the blade was time-consuming to make, with many steps that couldn't be replaced by ninjutsu, only by ancient craftsmanship. To make the blade oil for Takeda Takeshi's flying wing, Kaoru had been secretly working hard for 2 months. Before leaving, she wanted to finish this task. Black palm flowers might not exist in the land of sea. As a spy for Konoha, Kaoru, who was about to escape from the land of rain, couldn't pack her luggage openly like Yuto. Yahiko had let Takeda handle Kaoru himself. As long as it didn't endanger the organization, he wouldn't interfere. Running away with a female spy wouldn't severely harm Akatsuki, and could be seen as a somewhat acceptable way to handle things. But sneaking away was one thing, making it widely known was another. Takeda and Kaoru couldn't overdo it and embarrass Yahiko and the others. Helping others is helping oneself. More importantly, Kaoru knew she had to be in this house at this hour today. Not being there or being at the wrong time could lead to severe consequences, because today was the day she had agreed to meet her superior. Squeak. After a while, the door opened. The footsteps were rhythmic, signaling a secret code. Yami. The man who entered closed the door and spoke Kaoru's code name in the root. Owl-sama. The female shinobi put down the pestle, turned, and knelt on one knee, head bowed low. The incessant rain of Amegakure is always so disturbing. Owl, wearing a bird-faced mask, covered his face tightly. His black robe wrapped him securely, revealing only his muscular outline. Yami, do you have anything to say about Takeda Takeshi? Kaoru's heart felt like it was gripped by a hand, making her almost unable to breathe due to the tension. Fortunately, after her parents' deaths and being sent into the root, Kaoru had overcome countless crises and wasn't about to break under a casual probe. With a momentary closing of her eyes, the female shinobi suppressed her tension and fear, and calmly said, "The assassination plan against Takeda Takeshi will take place 5 days later. At that time, he will be escorting a wealthy merchant from the land of rain out of Amegakure, far from Akatsuki's base. It's the best time for us to act." "I've heard that your relationship with Takeda Takeshi is good, Yami. Are you wavering now?" Kaoru sighed inwardly. She knew very well what "heard" meant. Apart from her, there were obviously other Konoha spies in Akatsuki. The female shinobi raised her head, her beautiful eyes cold and indifferent. Owl reached out, pinched Kaoru's chin, forcing her to look at him. His fingers dug into her fair skin without mercy. After a moment, he released her, satisfied. Root needed and favored subordinates without excessive emotions, focused solely on their missions. "Tell me, Yami, what level of power is needed to assassinate Takeda Takeshi?" "He's proficient in water release, and the most noteworthy are the 2 chakra blades flying wing. Apart from that, he's just an ordinary special jonin." "Then I'll give you 4 teammates. With you, that makes 5. It should be enough. If necessary, I will also take action." Kaoru replied calmly, "No need, Owl-sama. If it's a sneak attack, I can do it alone. Takeda Takeshi trusts me very much." "Good. You are fully responsible for this assassination. I will temporarily leave the Land of Rain to handle other matters." Kaoru felt a weight lifted off her chest. She instinctively wanted to keep Owl away from her, knowing he was a dangerous man. "Decoy, post-operation explanations, your promotion." "Heh, forget it. There's no need to say more, Yami. You are already an excellent shinobi." Owl glanced around the room. The discarded boxes were filled with seeds of the black palm flower, squeezed dry of oil. "Very good. A spy must fully integrate into their role. Once the matter with Akatsuki is wrapped up, Danzo-sama will assign you more important tasks." As his words fell, he disappeared. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Kaoru remained kneeling on one knee, unmoving. After an indeterminate amount of time, she suddenly collapsed to the ground. Finally, the last hurdle is over. Owl, a terrifying man. You surely don't know that this was our last meeting in this life. Kaoru sat on the floor for a long while. After her tense nerves fully relaxed, she stood up and opened the window. Outside, it was still raining. The towering steel buildings pierced the night sky like deep wells rising from the ground. Oppressive, gloomy, and chaotic, such was always the nature of Amegakure, unchanged. However, at this moment, the female shinobi breathed in the air desperately, greedily swallowing the rainwater that drifted into her mouth. This was the taste of freedom. Takeda Takeshi opened the door. When passing by Yuto's room, he hesitated for a moment, but decided not to knock and say goodbye. His departure was defection, so it was better not to disturb unrelated people. With this thought, Takeda left directly. However, after only walking a few meters, a paper crane folded from white paper landed on his shoulder. Takeda was very familiar with the chakra fluctuations within the paper crane and understood what it meant. He threw the crane into the air, and it fluttered under the control of distant chakra. Takeda followed it. The paper crane stopped in front of a door. Takeda knocked, and after receiving a response, he entered. "Leader, Konan-sama, Nagato-sama." Takeda bowed respectfully, as always. "Takeda," Yahiko spoke, his handsome face expressionless. "You're leaving?" "Yes, leader." "Where to?" "A far, far away place, a peaceful spot away from the world's center." "Ah, you really dare to say that?" Yahiko shook his head. As the fourth-ranking member, leaving the Land of Rain with the organization's secrets and a Konoha spy. "Takeda, have you thought this through?" "Sorry, Leader-sama." Takeda Takeshi lowered his head, instinctively gripping the 2 sharp chakra short swords. "Wing blades!" The small secret room became as quiet as a grave in an instant. "It seems, as a shinobi, you have chosen and accepted your fate," Yahiko said calmly, closing his eyes. "Conan," the purple-haired Ice Queen silently walked towards Takeda. Takeda felt his heartbeat quicken, his grip on wing blades tightening. However, he remained where he stood, head down, without fleeing or resisting. His hand felt heavier. Something had been added, very heavy, almost straining his back. "Takeda!" Conan's lips curved up, like an ice mountain melting, bringing spring warmth. "Eloping with a girl. You can't let her suffer." Takeda looked down at the large package in his hands. It contained precious metals, intricate machinery, and rare medicines. Items that could be exchanged for a large amount of local currency anywhere. "Conan-sama," Takeda's nose suddenly felt sour. This man in his 30s almost cried on the spot. "You have worked hard for the organization all these years, bearing many scars and almost dying in battle several times. We've seen it and never forgot." Takeda looked up to see Yahiko's encouraging eyes and Nagato's light smile. "These are the leaders I've served for these years. I've never regretted it." Biting his lip, the man bowed deeply, holding the package, and slowly exited the room. Just before closing the door, Takeda took a deep breath and shouted, "Leader! Your wishes will come true. One day peace will come to the world through Akatsuki's efforts. I will wait for that day, even if far away." Laughter from the three young leaders echoed from the room until the door was completely closed. Coming in openly, leaving with dignity, Takeda's years in Akatsuki ended perfectly. The man wiped his face, turned around, and headed straight to the base's 6th exit. He could now head towards happiness without any psychological burden. Kaoru didn't use an umbrella, letting the rain wet her face. At 25, she was no longer a little girl, but tonight, in this rainy evening, she walked down the street, hopping around, petting small cats and dogs. The kunoichi, like a child, observed and enjoyed the world. Everything seemed different, more beautiful and meaningful. She soon arrived under the red signpost. The signpost was crimson and very tall, visible from afar. In Amegakure, it was a small landmark. Locals knew the exact location once mentioned. Kaoru stood under the red signpost, looking around, unable to control her smile. She needed to wait because she had arrived too early. The agreed time with Takeda was midnight, but it was only 10 o'clock, 2 hours too early. Thinking about it, her cheeks blushed. She touched her face, which was indeed hot. "Oh dear, I came so early, 2 whole hours. If Takeda sees this, he'll surely laugh at me. It's not that I'm eager to elope with you. I just..." Under the signpost, Kaoru giggled to herself. "I just wanted to see you sooner." Suddenly, her fingertips touched her pocket. Kaoru frowned, searching carefully but finding nothing. The bottle of blade oil she had prepared for 2 months was left at the base's residence. The kunoichi bit her lip. Takeda loved his blades. In the land of waves where there was no chakra, the only memory of the past would be those 2 sharp wing blades. The land of waves probably doesn't have good black camellia. Thinking this, she calculated the time. Returning to the base residence and back here would take at most half an hour. Going back to get the blade oil and returning to wait by the signpost, there would still be a very ample hour and a half before the appointed time. Annoying guy, making me go back for something. Kaoru stroked the shell Takeda gave her, turned and walked into the alley, heading back, without a hint of displeasure. Did I come too early?" Takeda emerged from the base's 6th exit, looking up to see the red signpost, but no one was there. Indeed, too early, 2 hours until midnight. He sighed lightly. walked over slowly and leaned against the signpost, gazing at the sky. He was still holding the heavy package. Take some money to buy a large yard by the beach in the land of waves, he thought, feeling a sense of unprecedented fulfillment. Buy lots of flowers and plants for Kaoru, and seeds. The fate of a shinobi is a broken balance. Effort and reward, happiness and disaster will never be equal. For two people from opposing factions to fall in love took 3 whole years, over 1,000 days and nights together. 115 battles fought side by side, 34 nights of intimate talks, 16 times of narrowly escaping death with laughter and embrace, and 1 declaration of love on a rainy night. However, under the crimson signpost, for 2 lovers to narrowly miss each other forever, it only took 6 seconds.